Thank you for staying with us. You're still watching The Breakfast on Plus TV Africa. It's time to discuss our first hot topic that says federal government warns against fraudsters over Emefiele-Linked housing estates. The Federal Ministry of Housing and Urban Development has cautioned Nigerians against fraudsters claiming the 753-unit housing estate linked to ex-CBN Governor Godwin Emefiele is up for sale. In an official statement, the ministry clarified that no sale processes has begun and described the circulating 500,000 naira expression of interest forms as fake. The ministry, having just taken over the estate from the EFCC, confirmed that a technical committee will be set up to assess the buildings and infrastructure before any public offering is made. It stressed that proper announcements will be issued in line with the President Bola Tinubu's directive. Citizens are advised to verify all housing-related information directly with ministry, though through its official departments, and the public was urged to remain vigilant as the government reiterated its commitment to transparency and accountability and inclusivity in delivering affordable housing. Joining us to have a conversation on this is TOLUWASE Olaniyan, is the Executive Director, EGO Foundation. Good morning, sir. Thank you for joining us.
Good morning, and thank you for having me today.
All right. So, I mean, when you hear this story, the first thing that will jump out to you is, oh my God, affordable housing. All I have to do is pay 500,000 naira interest form and, you know, I have a home. And that's what a lot of people want in Nigeria because we do not really have affordable housing. But when you heard this story, what was the first thing that jumped out to you?
So the very first thing that jumped out to me when I heard the story was, we're at it again, right? I was scared for fraudsters and criminals jumping on this information and then swindling people of their hard-earned monies. I'm not sure how the distribution will go. But it was scary. It was scary because I also know that, this part of the world, we're not very thorough in terms of process, delivery, and all of it. So it was a bit scary. Yes, welcome development, what it should be. Also ensure that, if this is well done, this would be amazing. Well, at first I was scared to say, how will this run? What will be the process? But yeah, again, I think it's a really, really welcome update.
So seeing now that, of course, this is fake because it's not affordable housing for anybody, and whoever is doing that, fraudsters is just trying to put that out there to scam people of their money. What do you think the government is doing to ensure that public trust between the people and, you know, even just sensitizing them that you do not just pay money to people just like that because you hear that it's a juicy offer for you?
Yes, so clearly for me, what I think should be done around this is to leverage on the efforts of the National Orientation Commission to pass this information in very clear terms, and probably build a very interesting structure. Now that we know that it's almost a norm, it's a common thing with politicians to take funds and sort of put it into real estate, is to then build a system where it's okay, if you want to know anything about these accommodations, anything housing that have been seized, you should go to this agency and have a dedicated agency make out for it. If it's with the EFCC or if it's with any of that, with the Ministry of Housing, go to this place. If the information is not coming from this place, so it is then central. I was worried when the information came and it wasn't from a very, very particular source. The process was not clear. I was quite worried. But I think that the government needs to be able to put a proper fine-tuned process into it and say, to get information about this, we have to go to the Ministry of Housing, go to this place, to actually get get the physical form, right? Or go through your insurance, housing insurance funds process to be able to get this form, and do not pay money to anybody, right? So if that kind of system is put into place, I think that will go a long way in ensuring that people don't lose their hard-earned money.
But why do you think scams like this, gain traction? so easily. Like, it's something that people just fall into. I know that there are even phone scams. You know, they'll tell you Tinubu is sharing 35,000 naira. Call this number to, you see all of that on your phones. But then they're taking it up a notch to housing, and because they know people are desperate to own homes. So why, in your own opinion, why would you think that this is gaining so much traction so easily at the moment?
Simple. Economic instability in and around the country. Economic conditions. So a lot of people just lost money to a Ponzi scheme, CBEX, right? It's all in bid to make something really quick, all in bid to make something really fast, all in bid to, and you won't blame people. The level of poverty in the land is high. We almost don't have a middle class anymore. It's the high class and low class, right? And and the low class having like taking the lion's share of this class. So this kind of scheme, this kind of issue would always reoccur, and that's because unfortunately for us, the economic condition in the country is not so good. So even if you tell people, no, don't do this, don't do that, and if it's not strong enough, a lot of people will still go ahead. So and it's just the economic condition in the country at the moment.
So I want to just take it away from the whole housing thing. We're going to come back to that. But when you see that a lot of politicians, they come into power, they make money, not even make money. I don't think that is making money. They steal money and then they put it into real estate. Don't you think something needs to be done, especially when it comes to the declaration of assets? Because when someone assumes office, you hear the whole, they have to declare their assets. But it seems like that's only when they do declare their assets. The moment they're out of office, it just goes kaput. They don't declare assets anymore. Or even if I don't know, maybe they ask them to do that on the ground, but maybe they just grease some palms because they know that they've stolen a lot, and then everybody forgets about it. How do you think we can even mitigate the fact that most politicians get to steal money that was meant for the people, public funds?
Simple thought that I've always had. The same way that some Asian countries have capital punishments for people who indulge in this, I think we should also have it in Nigeria. Unfortunately, all arms of government are currently have their hands in this. For lack of better words, have their hands in this dirty, murky water. The person who declares 2 houses before coming in, out of these 15 houses has given.
Hello, Toluwase. I think we're having issues with your audio. Can you hear me? Hello, Toluwase. I think we're having issues with Toluwase's audio, but we've just been looking at the fact that the federal government, has warned people against fraudsters who are trying to sell the units, the homes by CBN ex-governor Emefiele, and a lot of people are falling into these scams. In fact, it was said that all you have to do is bring 500,000 naira for an interest form, and then you can own a home. And this is something that we've seen become so rampant. Housing fraud. I think I can call it that, housing fraud. But it's obviously because of the economy, like Toluwase was saying. It's the fact that, okay, many people are not making as much, and then when they see an opportunity, it's almost like a get-rich-quick scheme. I need to grab this opportunity as quickly as I can, because if this is the only opportunity I may have to own a home, then why do I have to waste time on it? So you snooze, you lose pretty much, and people are falling into these scams. And the question I was just asking him right now was, the fact that, the former CBN, Toluwase, can you hear me now?
Yes, I can hear you now.
Okay, fantastic. So we couldn't hear you for a bit, so I would want you to start from the beginning.
I apologize.
Yes, from when I asked you the question about, declaration of assets before they assume office, and then nothing is being done afterwards.
Yeah, I mean, so I was saying that, so the person who has 2 houses before coming into government and now has 15 houses has given 5 of those houses to the people who would ask, how come you now have 15 houses? How will they be able to probe the same person, right? So unfortunately, all arms of government have their hands in this murky water. So it's very, very difficult for us to be able to track. And people have now also institutionalized this model and these processes of buying or acquiring assets by proxy, right? So, for example, the CBN government that is currently being prosecuted had a lot of these assets in proxy. And I mean, that has also made it worse, right? So to have over 750 something houses, it means that you probably had taken like several processes, used so many people's names to buy some of these assets. Now think about it. Those people are also Nigerians who have at some point complained that the country is bad and there's corruption in the land. Now they are the end of affairs. They've agreed and embraced this process now. So it's a rough that has eaten deep into the fiber of our system and of the country at large. So I mean, measuring assets pre and post office will be difficult, but I think capital punishments will be very, very important. I mean, if we're able to have like 1 or 2 people, being punished capitally, it will make a lot of sense, and I think it serves as deterrent to other politicians.
Yeah, I agree with that, but like you said, the people that are supposed to even ask these questions, they already have their hands soiled. Money has exchanged hands, and I can't come to you and say, why do you have 15 homes when I know that you've already given me something? And in a way, that is not even in a way, it is bribery and corruption. And corruption has taken so deep into our system that nobody, is almost like there is no moral compass anymore. Nobody is trying to say, why are you doing this? This is meant for the people. Nobody has that conscience anymore. It seems like when you just go into government, you kind of sell your conscience and you're like, I want to grab what I can. So if I'm going to take from you just to save you, then I might as well do that. But how do you think we can put this into our system? I know that obviously the legislation might not work at the moment, because these are the people who are supposed to even have the parliament now. I'm talking about the House of Reps, the Senate and whatnot. These are the people who are supposed to put these laws in place. But in a way, they're also in these dirty, murky waters. So how can we move past it? Is this something that now we just have to embrace corruption, that anybody can go into office, make as much money, steal as much money as they can, and then it's fine, and the people who need it will keep falling into housing fraud?
It's clear. An agency, the EFCC, has all it takes to mitigate all of this, right? At the moment, the legislature, I mean, all the required arm of government have done what they need to do by ensuring that the EFCC has the capacity to be able to prosecute and bring economic and financial criminals to book. All we need to do now is to enforce. All we need to do is to enforce. We have ex-governors who have finished office terms, who have criminal allegation hanging around their neck, and who are walking the streets freely, not being prosecuted. We need to get to that point of prosecuting these people. Now, if we get to that point of enforcing and prosecuting these people, then we are serious about this. But the EFCC has all the power. So there's the EFCC, there's ICPC. So these guys have the capacity to. So I think that what we then need now to strengthen that is the political will to be able to do this. It said that some people have some backing, some people have some shielding. We need to get to that point. We need those agencies to get to the point where they're able to say to us that nobody is above the law, right? Nobody is above the law.
Yeah.
We saw clear evidences, right? Some clear evidences that were put in the public about how some people had paid for their children's school fees in foreign currency, which is also a crime.
Yes.
Paid in Nigeria, and we have not seen them being brought to book publicly. Right, so we need to be able to.
Well, I can give you a bit more information on that. In fact, the money was being moved to the federal government, so the school refunded the money, but gave it to the government, and then a court ruled that that was wrong. That the contract that was being made was between the family, and the school, and why would the school now give the money to the government?
And that's why I say, well, the political will. Right, the political will. I think that money should have been held first by the EFCC. They should have returned the money to the EFCC, where it then would be channeled where it should go to, because this money belongs to a particular state, and this state is regarded one of the poorest states in the country at the moment, right? So you can return the money to the federal government, return it to the pockets of the state, let the state use the money to support the people living in the state. But hey, alas, look at what we're going through. Yeah, the court is ruling that it is wrong, which legally might be right. But again, returning the money to the federal government was not the right thing, right? It's the state's money. Can you return the money to the state or return it to the EFCC, who will then do a proper disbursement of what it should be? I think that the part that the EFCC has also not gotten right is how will matters like this be addressed? And that's why we're having issues with the houses that Mr. Godwin bought, how it should go, how it should be done. Audit of the EFCC, the things that were seized, what's the process of either refunding some of these things, or what's the process of sale? What is it? We need these things. We pay taxes. We're citizens, right? We need this information. Well, again, this is Nigeria.
This is Nigeria, but I hope we get to the point where we're free of corruption. But let's go back to the whole housing scam in this case.
Yeah.
What would you think that needs to be done with our housing system? Because I feel like it's because we do not have affordable housing. That's the reason why people want to jump at this. And right now, I live in Lagos. The houses in Lagos are so expensive, especially if you live on the island. You're having like a one-bedroom apartment for over 3 million naira. Even if you want to buy a home, they're telling you hundreds of millions of naira. And you're wondering, why is it so expensive? And it's not even a case of, maybe in the UK now, you see that it's close to the train station, it's 15 minutes walk from here, you have a park around, you have amenities, and that's the reason why the value of that home would go up. But in Nigeria, it's almost like, oh yes, you can live next to Dangote, and that's the reason why the house has to be expensive. What do you think we really need to do, reforms that needs to be done when it comes to the housing sector in Nigeria?
Yeah, I think we need to improve our mortgage system. If people earn, then they should be able to own their home.
Right.
Right. So I think we need to improve our mortgage system. Like I said to someone some time ago, maybe improved mortgage system would also ensure job security for some people at some point. Because if you're earning here, you ensure that you want to do good there, because the mortgage to get taken from your salary, or you have to pay your mortgage every month. I think that's like the number one thing, because you see a lot of civil servants who cannot even afford their own rent, and they work for the government, right? So I think that we need to first improve our mortgage system first. And then focus, maybe when we improve our mortgage system, we then focus on the quality of homes. So I see a lot of luxury homes that are targeted at the rich, when the poor cannot even afford anything. Now, those lands that are being used to build this luxury home in the name of trying to amass wealth by the real estate guys can actually be used to also put together homes for the low-income earners, right? So I think that the mortgage system first needs to work. People are able to pay from what they earn, and people are and houses are built to meet the pockets of what people earn, right? So the minimum wage is 70,000 naira at this time. 70,000 naira times 12, and you're asking somebody to come pay an annual rent of 600,000. I mean, look at it. Or you're still to pay even 500,000 naira.
I don't even think there are homes of that amount anymore. But I mean, hypothetically.
Yes, and this person earns 70,000 naira in a month. How do you expect them to live? How do you expect them to sleep somewhere, right? But there's a mortgage system, so the government is aware of what the minimum wage is, the regulations to ensure that the houses that are built, this is like the maximum or the minimum that you can take from someone's salary. So people now have homes. I mean, I'm sure life expectancy would even increase. Because I know people who work on the island, right? They work on the island and they live as far as Yanopaja, Abule Egba. They wake up 5 o'clock every day because they cannot afford to live close to work, right? So, I mean, and all of this, I think, I think by the time we put all of this in place, we will be able to, and we need firm regulation around the housing system in the country. I think we need very, very firm regulation. The regulation around housing is poor, extremely poor.
I agree with you. Yeah, I agree with you, especially with the fair regulation. And I think, when it comes to pricing as well, but that's even a conversation that we'll have another day. Because when you think about the value ratio, it doesn't add up. If I see a house here in Nigeria for how many thousands or how many millions of dollars, I can get something way better in the US or in Canada, and for a fraction of that amount. But I don't understand why real estate is so expensive in Nigeria, and I'm wondering what is here that you guys are making it so expensive. But obviously that's going to be conversation for another day.
It's not a regulated system, and I think we need regulation around it.
I agree with you. Anyways, want to say thank you so much for coming. It's always a pleasure, having a conversation with you. It's very insightful. Thank you for your valuable contributions. Thank you for your time.
Thank you so much. Thanks for always having me.
Yes. Have a wonderful day.
Bye.
All right, so I'm speaking with TOLUWASE Olaniyan, is the Executive Director, EGO Foundation, and we've just been talking about the housing sector in Nigeria and the fact that the federal government has warned against fraudsters who are parading Emefiele's housing and, scamming people basically with it. We'll go on a short break now. When we return, we'll be discussing our second hot topic, so please stay with us.